PuckTime live on WagerTalk TV. It is Wednesday, January 22nd. Myself, Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco, and Don Buster here to break down three games, talk some sides, totals, props, give you guys some best bets, and of course, mention the great promotions we have going right now at WagerTalk.com, including the $11 a day, $77 for a week deal that I think is one of the best we've run in a long time here. So if you guys want to join any of us for a week of all plays, that deal, no promo code needed. Get 7 days for $77. But Carm, you chose three great games, despite it being a small slate, man. Looking forward to breaking things down with you. How are you?
I'm good. A decent day yesterday. Could have been a lot better. It started with a 5% winner, an easy slam dunker in Champions League, 5-0 by tying side Atalanta. I was pretty happy about that. NHL 2-1 in NHL. Andrew, I'm going to make this quick. I can't complain about the fact that I could complain about the fact that the Edmonton Oilers and Washington is 3-2 with 15 minutes left in the game, and I've got over 5.5, and they couldn't score another goal, including 2 minutes of 6-on-4 to end the game for Edmonton after a penalty. And you want to know why I can't complain? Because I had Nashville on the puck line, and they're losing 5-1 and won 7-5. Scoring 6 straight goals. So how can you complain about one and not acknowledge the other? But with that said, a good day overall. I'm happy. Let's just get some more wins and a bunch of wins. We need to get it going quickly. We're going to talk New Jersey and Boston, Winnipeg, Colorado, Florida, and the LA Kings as well too. And joining us is Don Buster. Buster, I'm going to go to you first on this one. I want to welcome you to the show. A weird opening number was 165. I'm seeing 220 on New Jersey right now. Boston plus 180. And the total sitting at 5.5 here. I don't see any news on why the line changed from 165 to 220 so far on the Devils. But I do get it. The Bruins have back-to-back games. They're going to play Ottawa tomorrow back in Boston. So we might not see Swayman. We might see Korpisalo in goal tonight. It's not till 11:30 in the morning that the Bruins have their morning skate in New Jersey. How are you breaking this down, and do goalies factor into this for you at all?
Well, of course, goalies will factor in a little bit, but as you know, I'm a situational guy and a numbers guy. And like you said, Carmine, it's now up to 220 for New Jersey. And this number is just way, way too high, in my opinion. And again, here's a New Jersey club. I know they might be due, and that's why maybe that's why the line's going up. Oh, they're due. They've lost, I don't know how many, 3 in a row at home. They've lost 9 out of their last 11 games. So to me, as we know, due is nothing that you want to be betting, because maybe, just maybe, they're not as good as we all think they are. We know they have all the talent, but you know what? The way they've been playing this last month and a half or so, who knows? Maybe they need like a coaching change or something. Hold on a minute. That's right. They already had a coaching change this year, and they recycled some guy that couldn't even get Toronto to win a cup with all that talent. But they decided it was a good idea. We'll put him with New Jersey with a team that also has a team that could win a cup. And here we are today, guys and girls. So to me, you know what? There's a lot of talent in this New Jersey team. Maybe they're not playing the type of hockey that the guys want to play. They're playing the type of hockey that the recycled Toronto coach wants to play. But there's also other things that point to Boston here. Boston has dominated this club over the years. They've won 8 of their last 9 games against New Jersey. Now, we know Boston, they haven't been playing up to where they should be playing probably as well. But after that little funk they had, they have won 3 of their last 4 games, and that only loss was in a shootout. So they are playing better. For me, it's just a numbers thing with this Boston and New Jersey game. So at the end of the day, for me, you might want to go Boston plus 220 plus 200. And I was looking at the plus 1.5 goals. It's already bet down to minus 145. They keep betting this line up. Maybe, I know we talk about plays, your favorite minus 1.5 plus whatever, and they lay the 220, which I never do. I would never do that. Like, people might want to do that in this situation. Never. I'm looking at it the other way. Maybe you put a little money on the Boston and also play the Boston plus 1.5. So that's the way I'm looking here. As for the total, I always say at 5.5, if I can't bet it over, I'm not betting it. Well, you know what? New Jersey's gone 9-1 to the under the last 10. The last 4 between the clubs have gone 4-1 to the under. Yeah, I don't want any part of this total, but I think that's might be a pretty good play. Taking Boston as a massive dog, which they shouldn't be, and plus 1.5 goals.
Some good takes there, Buster. And I'm going to go back to you before I go to Andrew on this one, because we're talking about a couple teams. I think a lot's expected from New Jersey, and I expect a lot from New Jersey this season. And the teams are going to go through ups and downs. The Bruins, the Bruins were one of my preseason teams that I played under their points total 99.5 because I thought they're going to have a down season. You look at the Bruins, and this is as a whole on the season. Their power play 30th, 13.8. Their penalty killing 24th, 75.9. They're minus 20 in goal differential, second worst in the Eastern Conference, 26th in goals scored per game at 2.77, 23rd in goals allowed per game at 317. This is a team, Buster, I think that is badly in need of. I think the Bruins are a seller at come playoff time because March 7th is the trade deadline, and here's who they play, Buster. And I'm going to throw these at you real quickly, and then you give me your point on whether you think, because the Bruins right now are even money to miss the playoffs. And I like the even money on the Bruins to miss the playoffs right now. They have New Jersey, then they play Ottawa, Colorado, the Buffalo Sabres, Winnipeg, the Rangers, Minnesota, the Rangers again, Vegas Golden Knights, maybe a breather against Anaheim. They play the Leafs, the Islanders, the Pens, Minnesota, Nashville, Carolina, Tampa, Florida. That is almost, I'm not going to call it a murderer's row, Buster, but come March 7th, they could be at or near the bottom of the standings, playing the way they're playing right now with those numbers, those analytics on them. Are the Bruins a seller at the trade deadline, or you think they're going to make the playoffs?
I'm not sure whether they make the playoffs or not. All I'm saying at this moment in time, they are playing a lot better hockey. They've won 3 of the last 4 games, and then the game they lost was a shootout. So, to me, I always like playing the hotter team of the 2 teams. Yes, there's no doubt New Jersey has got a great team, but there's something up there. That's all. There's something going on. A team like that should never go on a bad streak like that. Whether they make the playoffs or not, yeah, you can be very right, Carmine, about them not making the playoffs. But tonight, how can you lay a big number like that? Even to lay regulation, I think you get up to 145 or something against a team that hasn't been playing that good. Yeah, can New Jersey win this game? Of course it can. I think it's going to be a really, really close game. So do you want to put 220 on a really close game or even go to regulation when it might go to overtime? I don't know. I'm just saying, yeah, what's going moving forward, you're right. No problem. But I'm just talking about tonight.
Yeah, and I didn't want to interrupt you while you were going there. And that's the thing is I'm asking for like the bigger picture, not tonight, because that price is just it's going so high that it almost becomes attractive on the other side. Like I think Brian Leonard always says, Andrew, he says that at some point you're going to price me in with the plus money on a side if they keep betting one side of it. Andrew, your thoughts on this game, and then quick thoughts on the Bruins in general, because 36-year-old, can you imagine moving, but he could move, Brad Marchand, 36-year-old Brad Marchand goes to a playoff bound team at the trade deadline. They would get a first round pick for for Marchand, a team that has some draft picks, I think, stockpiled. You could get easily a first-round pick, maybe a prospect, and a couple, second or third rounds as well, too. Probably third rounds. I don't think you want to give up a 1 and a 2.
I mean, I'll just start with that, Carm, just because we're on the topic right now of it. I think that it's been really interesting to follow, and I've been really enjoying bringing it up to you guys on the show, and I've asked you about it. And Carm, you gave your thoughts a few weeks ago when they were minus 130, and you said no for the Boston Bruins playoffs hopes. And ever since then, the odds have kind of gone down and down and down and back up, then back down again. So I don't think, since you made that statement, they've been minus 130 to make the playoffs again. So far, so good with you on that prediction. And I think that that's the thing you have to look at is, when you're looking at this incredible Eastern Conference wildcard race right now, that for different reasons I'm excited about, but you have to think about which teams are going to be buyers, which teams are going to be sellers, and which teams are going to be stagnant. Because I think for teams like the Montreal Canadiens, they're not going to do very much. They might not sell as much, but they won't be buyers, right? You look at a team like the New York Rangers, they're already old. They're going to have to be buyers. They've got a couple young guys, but they've been trying to get JT Miller for the past few weeks. The Boston Bruins, the thing for them is they haven't really had success the last few years because they just win one round and they're out. The Leafs make it to the playoffs and they lose in 7. Well, the Bruins always say they don't feel much better than the Leafs because they beat the Leafs and then they lose their next series anyway. So I think it is time for the Boston Bruins to hit a little bit of a reset. The problem was they paid a guy first-line center money that probably should be a second-line center or even a really good, winger or third-line guy, and that's a problem with them. But, Carm, short and simple for me with this one, I like the over in this game here. Look, the Devils have been struggling, and there's no denying that some of these numbers that they're putting up, they're struggling to score, right? I mean, they've scored 1 goal in 3 of their last 4 games, and here I am talking about how I like an over in this game. But the funny thing is, even though the Boston Bruins have gotten their act together lately offensively, they've actually been sacrificing some defense. Let's not forget, on MLK Day on Monday, this very Boston Bruins team, they were losing to the San Jose Sharks, guys. They had to come back with a 3-goal third period, or I think it might have been more, to get the job done, right? They were minus 225, and they were down twice against the San Jose Sharks. They gave up 6 goals against the Ottawa Senators, right? They give up a handful of goals against the Panthers, the Bolts. Right now, this team, I'll take it in the month of January, as far as the worst expected goals against teams, Ducks, Sharks, Capitals, Blackhawks, and there they are, the Boston Bruins. So right now, I don't trust this Devils team defensively, so I'm confident that the swag that the Bruins are playing with, they can score. But I think this actually might be a good team for the Devils to score against. So with the low total, 5.5, I'll take the over. And this is one of those games where I don't want a team total, Carm, because frankly, I don't know who the hell wins this game. So I'm just going to take the full game over and not pick one team.
Yeah. It's a good take from both of you guys, so I appreciate that. We spent a lot of time on this one. I'll end it with this, Andrew, because you talk about overpaying guys, and we talked about the Leafs doing that with their core 4. Elias Lindholm, third line center, getting paid $7.75 million. That, to me, is absolutely insane. Buster, Colorado, minus 125, down from minus 140 overnight. Winnipeg Jets, plus 105 in this one. This is, I think, the last game of the season series between these two. The home team has won each of the 3 previous games between these two, with Winnipeg winning both at home. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you're right, Carmen. It is the last game of the series between these guys. That's pretty early, too. I actually really like the Avalanche in this spot. I like them, and I am a little shocked that price came down from 140 probably around midnight last night. It was coming down, and now I see 120 in some spots, so I don't see any guys not going to play for Colorado from right now. But even then, even if somebody goes out, the next man steps up routines right there as well. Both these teams, though, have struggled a little bit of the last couple of weeks. The Jets have lost 2 in a row now, and they're like 5-5 in their last 10. And Colorado, they've gone 1-2 in their last 3, and they're also 5-5 in their last 10. So there's something there. But, guys, since that unbelievable 15-1 start for the Jets, they're just an average club. They're 16-16 the rest of the way. So, again, when the Jets do go on the road, they seem to, at home, they're a great team at home, but on the road, they're not one of those teams that aren't as good on the road. I'm not saying they don't win, but they're not as good. There's no doubt about that. And they proved that at that time, Colorado just dominated that game and won. They are right now, Winnipeg did win both games at home, and Colorado, like I just mentioned, one in Denver. But that first game that they played in Winnipeg, Hellebuck stole that game. Bottom line, they win 1-0. He stood on his head. He stole that game. To me, I just think because they're on the road, they've lost 2 in a row. I'm not saying Winnipeg's going to start regressing by any means, but they kind of almost really already, like I say, they're a middle-of-the-road team. They had that great start, right? And they're very good at home, so they're going to be a team in the playoffs. You also have to remember Colorado dominated the playoffs last year with this club, beating them 4-5 games. So that there as well. And like I say, Colorado has got 1-2 last 3, so I like them to have a nice bounce-back game here. And, geez, isn't the price right at 120? I like Colorado here. As for the total, again, it's at 6. I just find it a very tough total because this game could be any type to me. They could play it 2-1, or they could play a 1-0, or they could play a 5-4 or a 4-3 type game. And they've already proved that this year with Winnipeg at home winning like 3-0 and 1-0. But then in Colorado, I believe it was for Colorado. And again, I just don't want no part of the total. To me, right when I looked at this game and I saw 130. It was 140, then it went right down to 130 by the time I ended up doing my stuff about 2 in the morning. Right when I saw that, I put it out as a client play for Colorado. So I like Colorado here, guys.
A desperate Colorado to me is better than a desperate Winnipeg. And I know they're both not, desperate, but at the end of the day, they both are off losses. And I think that, it could be a decent game to look at prop bets. I think we could see some offense from both teams. The head-to-head total, 7-3 to the over last 10 meetings between these teams. So that's kind of favorable towards some goals here in this situation. But as you said, Buster, when I look at this one, I want the home team. I want the team that I trust the most. I want the more skilled team and the team that I think is probably going to have the better next 20 games, next 25 games, next rest of the season, really. I mean, how crazy is it that how talented this Avalanche team really is, and they're sitting in a wild card position? They aren't even right now top 3 in that division, so they're sitting in the first wild card spot. I know everything is so close right now in the Western Conference, but Winnipeg will not be feeling good after the loss that they had, but there's time and a place to go on a team after an embarrassing loss. And I'm not going to say the loss against Utah was embarrassing, but man, their power play, their PK didn't look that great. I mean, they still give up a bunch of chances despite, preventing goals there. But I just think that they are a team right now that, as Buster mentioned, they were kind of flourishing off their depth. And now the depth has gone away. It's a couple guys or bust. And for Colorado, I trust their depth a hell of a lot more. I think that this price is good here. I'm a little bit surprised by it, but I think that Colorado's the play. And when you take a look at expected goals, as I continue to mention, I look more towards the expected goals against than I do look towards the expected goals for. And right now, this Colorado team, they are a lot higher than this Winnipeg team as far as expected goals for. However, defensive numbers do suggest that Winnipeg's playing pretty well. So this could be a low-scoring victory for the Colorado Avalanche. But Carm, when you take both these teams off a loss and both teams being motivated, I want Colorado when they're motivated a little more than I want Winnipeg.
I tend to agree with you, Andrew. I've won quite a few of those closing line value plays, and the games didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. If you were following the numbers, this is one that I like Colorado. The numbers going against me, and it actually does not bother me. They're coming off that loss to Minnesota. And Minnesota, it wasn't that Minnesota stole that game. Minnesota were full marks to win that game. Even if you look at the analytic numbers on that one, the expected goals were 4.61 to 2.26 for the Minnesota Wild. So the Wild played a very good game in that one. I expect a bounce back here. I think these teams split the season series and could very well love to see them play again in the playoffs, kind of like last year. But I lean Colorado here, in the price. I would rather lay $1.20 than I would $1.40, because Winnipeg. We're not talking regression with Winnipeg, but a team that's played so hard for so long, at some point goes through those spurts where they lose some games, and more than likely comes on the road. So I'm going to lean to Colorado on this one. And you mentioned some props, so I'm going to send it to you for your prop playlist.
Thanks, Carm. Looking forward to hopefully keeping things going. 3-1 this week with the NHL props. And last night was a good night, good 2-0 night. We got Lafreniere to get a point, and we got Braden Point over 2.5 shots on goal. And that was plus money. That was plus 120 at most spots. So we can keep cashing and hopefully have a good night tonight as well. Before I get to my two favorite props here for tonight, I will mention once again that great deal, guys. 1 week, all my plays, football, basketball, NHL, $77, $11 a day, wt.buzz/am. We're doing well in multiple sports. We're 6-0 in the NFL playoffs with player props, 5% NFL player prop going this weekend. And of course, a couple really good NHL cards over the next few days. So guys, forget about buying daily. Get that week pass, $77 for the entire week. We have two players we are backing in bounce back situations. We are taking Kevin Fiala over 2.5 shots on goal for the LA Kings. This is a really good bounce back spot here for the LA Kings against a really good team. They did not take the Pittsburgh Penguins lightly, and boy, could you really see it. I mean, they looked flat as a pancake. Their speed was just not there. And Pittsburgh really showed them up. And I think Kevin Fiala is one of the shooters right now on LA. 6 straight games, he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal. They have not adjusted his price too much. Minus 130 is the price I'm seeing for them against the Panthers. I'll take that. Fiala over 2.5 shots on goal. Speaking of teams looking to bounce back and players, the Winnipeg Jets will look to bounce back against the Avalanche today after their loss against Utah Hockey Club. And I'm going to take a look at Kyle Connor, the shooter on that team, over 2.5 shots on goal. He's gone over in 5 straight away games. So I always talk about how strong Colorado plays at home to get in that last change, how advantageous that is for really skilled teams. Does not seem to impact Kyle Connor. He's a shooter. He gets more ice time on the road than he actually does at home, which is pretty impressive. So 2 players in bounce back mode, over 2.5 shots on goal. Let's catch these with Fiala from the Kings and Kyle Connor on the Winnipeg Jets. Back to you, Carm.
This would be a great spot for me to say to you, well, Andrew, I wasn't really listening to what you said, but I was listening to what you said, unlike the Prez on yesterday's show. By the way, guys, tune in to WagerTalk today at the top of the hour, because the Prez will be complaining about the fact that in a poker tournament yesterday at one of the casinos, I absolutely crippled him in a hand, and he busted out shortly after. He wasn't happy about it, but there are no friends at the poker table. With that said, Don Buster, LA Kings for these two teams aren't friends. Minus 150. This is almost a pick 'em. Minus 115 for the Kings. Minus 105. Florida on the second of a back-to-back, and it looks like it's going to be Spencer Knight in goal. Totals at 5.5 here. How are you breaking this one down?
Yeah, Andrew just mentioned with his breakdown on that prop play there that LA's in a good bounce back spot here, and he's right. Did they just not show up against Pittsburgh the other night? Mind you, they were off a 5-game road trip, but still, there was no excuse. That was just some bad hockey out of the LA Kings, and they will play better tonight for sure. Especially now, though, if you look at it, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Really need to bounce back. There's no doubt about that. They are, like I said, in a better spot than Florida, with Florida being on a back-to-back. And one thing, they have dominated this Florida club throughout the years, and especially at home. They've won 12 of the last 14 games at home against the Panthers. So I like that. And even though they were a no-show on Monday against the Penguins, they are still 14-4 at home this year. They have a really strong home advantage, LA does. So I really like that. And they have another little motivating factor that I believe comes into play here. Because after tonight, they have to go back on the road for another 5 games. So I think they'll really want this win tonight, because now you get back on the road, and with this, the way the NHL is now, so much parity, it's tough to win on the road. And so I look for LA, especially at a small price, to win here, especially after Florida played last night. It is on a back-to-back. And I'm just going to mention, though, Florida on back-to-backs this year, 5-0. They've won every game on a back-to-back. But we all know it's hard to win back-to-back games in the NHL. Florida's saying, no, it's not. But got to believe that kind of maybe catches up to them tonight as well, with LA being in a better spot. As for the total, I do lean under the 5.5. But I mentioned earlier, if I can't bet a 5.5 game over, I am passing. There is no way I will bet a 5.5 under. There's too many games in the NHL to play with that. Too much can happen to bet that under 5.5. I don't care if the two teams have only allowed 2 goals a game for the whole year. Anything can happen. I'm not touching that. So we won't touch the total, but I'll just let you know the under has gone under 4 of the last 6 between these clubs. Give me the LA Kings in this one, guys, because I think that's a pretty good price, too.
Mr. Much like the Prez, with his hatred towards the Montreal Canadiens, just embrace it. Embrace the unders, because we're going to start seeing a lot of 5.5s in the second half of the season, I have to believe. And the 6s, those 6.5s are going to dry up at some point, unless 2 high-scoring teams. Andrew, I'll make mine quick on this one. I like the first period over. I talk about these plays. You've got Florida on the road, 17-7 to the first period over. This one's at -115, I believe, for the first period over 1.5. And the LA Kings, while they're 10-8 at home on the season, 4-1 run at home recently with first period overs. And we're getting Florida on the second of a back-to-back. Buster mentioned how good they are on second of back-to-backs, but also we're likely getting Spencer Knight in goal for them as well too. I don't know if it's going to be Comfort or Big Save Dave for the Kings. We'll see, but give me over 1.5 first period on this one, and then I'm off to bed. Give me your thoughts.
Those early winners for you, Carm, help you get some better sleep at night. Don't have to watch all these late games the whole way through here. I like the Kings here, guys. I just think that it's always nice when you can go from being on a team to being against the team. And yesterday, my $5 play was Florida team total over 3.5 against the Ducks. We get the job done, and the next night we say, "Hey, man, thanks for doing this for me. We're going against you tonight." So I kind of think this LA Kings team is a really good bounce back team. Some teams you see lose a game the way that they did against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you kind of think, you know what, that was ugly. I don't really want to go back on this team. I don't trust them to bounce back. But the LA Kings are a veteran-built team. They're a team with a lot of leadership. Not to mention they have the ability to win low-scoring games. So I actually would kind of agree and lean towards the under as well, despite it being a second half of back-to-back for the Florida Panthers. I think the LA Kings are the side here. We've seen the number go up just a tiny bit so far here midday or towards early afternoon, and I agree with it. And I just think the start was the biggest problem for the LA Kings here. And a lot of times, really skilled teams like LA, when they bounce back defensively as well. So I do trust to see that. that is my show best bet here on Puck Time for the day here. And let's not forget this Florida Panthers team, despite playing a weaker team like the Ducks, they actually did give up a ton of chances yesterday, guys. A couple goals given to the Ducks, and it was a fast-paced game, but Bobrovsky had to make a lot of saves. And Florida are one of those teams, actually, I would say similar to the Tampa Bay Lightning, where there is definitely a discrepancy from goalie 1 to goalie 2, maybe a lot more than some other teams. Not saying Spencer Knight hasn't been decent lately because he's turned things around, but we all know there's a little bit of a difference between Sergei Bobrovsky and Spencer Knight. So LA Kings, my best bet for the show. Guys, 5% NFL prop play going up this afternoon. Really fired up about it. 6-0 this year in the postseason with the NFL, and a few NHL plays on this very small card tonight for Wednesday. So looking forward to a great, great day, and hope all of you guys have success and join me on that 7 days of plays for $77. I'll throw it back to you, Carm.
Love it, Andrew. And you had a rocking chair winner with your NFL 5% prop play last weekend. That's about as easy as they get. Another guy who hit an easy 5% play was Buster. So Buster, tell us what you got going on at WagerTalk and give us a show best bet.
Yeah, Carmine, I'll just, thanks a lot. I'll just talk exactly what Andrew said. That 7-day all access for only $77. Great deal. And it does include all the 5% releases. So go over to the website. You can get that from every capper. But go to my website and get it from me. Our short play is going to be a prop play. We had success last week on the show, giving out a prop play for our play at the end of the show. So we'll do it again. We've got tonight Kent Johnson over 1.5 shots on goal, minus 135 when Columbus plays the Toronto Maple Leafs, a game we never talked about. Kent has went 4 straight games over this number, and he's also gone 4 of the last 5 over this number against the Leafs. He plays on the number 1 power play, which we like, and he's playing really well of late. Getting to 1.5 shots. We can see him getting to the last few games. He's had 4, 3, and 4 shots. So looking for him to get a couple shots, maybe more. So that's our play. Kent Johnson over 1.5 shots on goal tonight. Thanks a lot, guys, for everything. Appreciate it. Best of luck with everyone watching this, everybody in the chat. And as always, have a great day.
Sir, best of luck to you. That's a great deal, guys. 7 days, $77. My best bet, guys, is going to be the same play we talked about, the Florida LA Kings one. Enough value on the first period over in this one, 1.5, laying minimal juice at minus 115. It's because it's the LA Kings. But with that said, I like the over 1.5. It should be Spencer in goal after the second of a back-to-back. 3 plays up in Champions League today. Really good day yesterday in Champions League. Couple plays up in NHL. And at around 1 o'clock today, I will have live on my page a 5% NHL play for Thursday. So grab that 7-day all access package and get all plays, including the NFL plays on the weekend. I'm going to mention it again, 126 units the last 3 years in the NFL since the 2022 season when releasing 4 or 5% plays at WagerTalk. That's number 1. Look to make it another one because I have a big play on Sunday's card as well too. For myself, Andrew McInnes, Don Buster, and our producer Dan Alexander of Eagles Nation. This is Puck Time. We will see you on Thursday.